Hey guys, and welcome to part 27 of Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver. In the last part we beat the Dragon Gym Leader, the final Gym Leader, but we didn't get a badge. There was some... I don't know, she was just stroppy I guess, but... One thing I've noticed about this game, or that I was thinking about earlier, is that in this game, it's like any male Gym Leader, you fight them, you beat them, and they'll go like, yeah, that's awesome, you got sick Pokemon, mass respect for you beating me, here's your gym badge, and then you high five with them and maybe go for beers later. But there's two female gym leaders in this place, there's two separate ones that simply refuse to give you their badge and then go off and get all stroppy about it when you beat them. There's two separate ones. So I don't know if you could accuse this game of being sexist, but it kinda does seem that way. I mean, sometimes girls are stroppy and don't want, you know how it is with those females. You defeat their Pokemon and they're evil dragons, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to give you proof that you beat my dragon. Definitely don't look into that. That's not an innuendo, what I just said there. That's just how it is sometimes. So yeah, so we actually do have to go and do this separate thing. We're actually in Dragon's Den right now, which, TV show. There's a TV show called Dragon's Den, and it's pretty funny looking back on it because this came out before Dragon's Den. Well, I know this game came out before the British Dragon's Den. I think there's an American Dragon's Den. I don't know because it's a stupid show, but I don't want to start accusing people of stealing anything or borrowing anything, but maybe, just maybe, that guy, that bald bloke that hosted it was thinking, he's like, yeah, I'm going to do a show where millionaires can invest in these weird and wonderful projects that people come up. But what should I call it? I should just call it whatever is the first building I enter or first place I enter when playing Pokemon Gold. And it happened to be Dragon's Den. Because otherwise, I guess they call the millionaires the dragons, but it's still a really dumb name. Yeah, the Dragon's Den, alright, that's a great name, guys, you did it. But yeah, we actually do have to come in here to pass a test. The Dragon's test, to be honest, and it's actually a series of questions, because I guess, you've already beaten the last gym leader, so they couldn't really have the Dragon's test be this big epic thing or this big battle where you have to take on more dragons or anything like that, or more Pokemon, because you've already done the battling part. So I guess the only thing they could have really done is either some sort of puzzle or this, where it's a question and answer thing. So the questions are really easy to get right. There's right and wrong answers. I think in several cases there's more than one correct answer. But they're pretty easy. The questions are like, what do you think of Pokemon? And it's like, they're the bestest, they're well cool, or they're dirt. And then you're like, well, I do like dirt. I don't want to slag off dirt here, but I think the answer is they're the bestest and the coolest. So they're pretty easy to get right and all that. And it's a bit too easy to get right, because apparently Claire, stroppy Claire, time of the month Claire, hasn't passed this test yet, when it's actually pretty easy. So I don't know. I guess they couldn't make it hard, but then again, because it's easy, it makes it seem weird that she hasn't done it. But again, she does seem like a terrible person because she didn't want to give me the Rising badge. So maybe she wouldn't pass that test. I don't know. But it seems like with the test, it seems like if the rival in this game took this test, he would fail. And it seems like that's how they kind of wrote the questions and the answers. So, like the question about, do you like strong or weak Pokemon? Which one's better? Of course, your rival would say strong, because that's his thing. He likes being strong, working out, getting a couple of Machokes or whatever, I don't know. And yeah, but I answered both because it's pretty obvious that that's okay. Because you can say weak Pokemon as well. I think with that question, there's actually no wrong answer. Strong Pokemon might be wrong, with the way they phrase it, but yeah, so it's pretty easy. But then yeah, I think the whole point is that your rival would take that test and get it wrong, so he wouldn't pass. But I mean, that makes it really confusing because, I mean, I don't know if she does this with every single person that comes into her gym and beats her Pokemon up, but it seems a bit harsh that she would have to take the test, but, I mean, I guess in the end it didn't really matter. But one thing I should quickly know, you might have noticed it, might not, but in between the last part and this part, I did do a bit of off-screen training because my Pokemon were a bit kind of weak. I mean, I need to do a lot more training, and there is another point in this part where I do even more training, but I did training for this part, or in between parts, because of that guy right there. I beat his Dragonair, as you saw, but that Dragonair was so annoying, because that Dragonair knows Thunder, and that's crazy, and that kills a lot of my squad, and I also know Surf, so that kills even more of my squad, so... because in between parts I'm trying to make it so all my Pokemon are the same level and all that kind of stuff, but of course with the last two gyms at least definitely, not all my Pokemon have been that useful or been able to help out that much, so it's kind of like with York and Hawkins I kind of did have to do some off-screen training because they both kind of suck. But anyway. So yeah, with that, and also that old guy won't let you in if you don't want to go in. And one thing I want to quickly mention is that Whirlpool, you have to use Whirlpool to get into this place, but they actually changed it from the original. In the original you would use Whirlpool on a Whirlpool, and the Whirlpool would disappear, it would just completely fade out. But if you say like went into a building and came back out, the Whirlpool would be back. But in this game they changed it, so Whirlpool allows you to get across it with this like animation, rather than making it disappear, which, I mean, I guess they want it, I guess it's a graphics thing that they did that, but I don't know why they changed it. It's kind of annoying. I would have preferred it if I just got rid of the Whirlpool and went through that way, but enough about that. We have the Professor Elm, who gives us the Master Ball. I mean, it kind of makes sense that he would have the Master Ball, and I guess they kind of... It does make sense though that you do get the Master Ball at the very end of your journey, because you're not really going to get any legendary Pokemon before then. I mean, it's technically possible with the roaming legendary dogs to get a Pokemon early, but you know, it's just not going to happen. So it's kind of nice that they give you the Master Ball, because now you can go legendary hunting and finding those last of the legendary Pokemon. And one thing that's kind of interesting about this is that, or something I noticed when I played Pokemon Silver back in the day, is that there's no Elite Four as of yet, or we haven't seen it. And that I noticed that because I remember in the first generation, the whole point is that you can get, or you see the Elite Four or Indigo Plateau, where the Pokemon League is. You see that straight away. You know, you just go left of Viridian City, which is the first city in the game. And then you can just go, you know, left, and there it is. You just can't access it without the 8 gym badges. But with this game, it's like, once you get the 8 gym badges, you're like, right, where's that Pokemon League I'm supposed to be going to? But of course, the game with the whole telephone system and all that, this game, they can actually, with the telephone, make you go wherever they want to at any point. So that's why with the Goldenrod radio tower, they're like, oh, we'll just make it so someone calls up the player and sends them there. And that's what happens here. Professor Elm calls you up and sends you here, because we actually have something that's semi-optional. Like you have to do this part of it, I'm pretty sure of, but if you want you can go straight to your Elite Four, but you can if you want, but I'm doing this anyway, because now that all the Camino girls have been saved and it's towards the end of the game, everyone is like, hey, go to the dance theatre, I hear it's hype. And that's exactly what I do, and I'll be honest, right, this is bad. This is the first part of this game and of this Let's Play where it's like, right, this section is just bad. Because one thing that's great about the second generation is that there's hardly any places where it's like, okay, this is terrible, or it's something that you're kind of dreading. In all the other generations, there's something that you always kind of dread. Whether it's maybe the Victory Road or, you know, I don't know. In the third gen team, Magnumus base kind of sucked. Things like that. But this is the first one that they added in, and it's bad and it's annoying to do. Because pretty much you now have to fight the 5 Kamina girls back to back. And they all have the different evolutions, which I really like the idea of this section. The idea is really cool because you get to see all the different evolutions, and in the second generations they introduced 2 new ones, Umbreon and Espeon, yeah. And as well as there's also Flareon, Jolteon and Vaporeon. But it's the execution is terrible and makes it really annoying to play because A, the first Pokemon is Umbreon, which is the hardest one to take out, and it's super cheap, this Pokemon, because Umbreon straight away uses Confuse Ray. No matter, obviously there might be a circumstance where it doesn't use Confuse Ray straight away, but pretty much it's going to use Confuse Ray. And also it has Synchronized, so as you can see, when I paralyzed it, my Pokemon also get paralyzed, because synchronizes that if you get any status ailment, then the other Pokemon gets it as well at the same time. So yeah, but also, so that's the first thing that makes this annoying. The second thing that makes it annoying is that every single one knows this attack called Last Resort, and Last Resort is that if you've used all your 3 other moves, you can use Last Resort. If you haven't used your 3 other moves in the battle, then you can't use Last Resort. And Last Resort is a physical normal move that is 130 power, which is ridiculous. Actually, for the 4th generation it's 130, but in the 5th gen they upped it to 140, so I mean, screw them. It's a bloody annoying attack, why would they do that? But every single one of these evolutions knows it, so every single one has this really good attack, which they all do because of the nature of the AI and the way the AIs battle. They do end up using all their moves quite quickly, so they all do get to the point where they get to use Last Resort. And the third thing that makes this really annoying is that it's back to back. In the originals, this took place ages ago. Back when, I mean, I mentioned it when we went here before. But yeah, the first time you go here, this happens. But the Pokemon are a lot lower level, and it was a lot better because you fought each evolution, each Kamina girl, in whatever order you wanted and whenever you wanted. You didn't have to fight them all back to back like this. You could go take on one of them and then go to the Pokemon Center here and come back. But with this you can't do that. It doesn't, I don't know why. I don't know why they would do it like this. Because it means that you have to put your Pokemon in the right position to try and take these girls out and all these evolutions out. But of course, with my squad I pretty much do have something that's super effective against each one. But it doesn't matter because the first Pokemon you always battle is Umbreon, so you have to put something that's good against Umbreon at the front, and then try and make it fit so you actually have the right Pokemon out, because they're also level 38, which is a pretty decent level. So they're also pretty hard because they're just pretty tough Pokemon. So actually my Pokemon squad is in a very specific order that I planned out, because against Umbreon, I really didn't have anything that good against it because it's a dark type. So I found out that the Fluff was the best thing against it. So I just sent that out, and then I put Mr. Sublime out because I knew that the Fluff was eventually going to die. So I knew that if I had Mr. Sublime out, then Mr. Sublime would be the one being sent out first for the battles after the Fluff had died. So with Mr. Sublime I could either attack or switch out for something that is going to be super effective. But then I knew if Mr. Sublime died, my third Pokemon would be sent out, so I put that as Mega Dude, because Mega Dude is quite defensive, so I would think that it could take a lot of the hits, especially Last Resort, because that's a physical move. So, and also E-Rock is there's more weaknesses against E-Rock, or Vaporeon is super effective against E-Rock, and Vaporeon is the last Pokemon. So yeah, so my squad is actually in a very specific order that I planned out. Because you may be thinking, Honest123, why are you getting so annoyed about this and still moaning about it? And the reason is because this is my 4th attempt. This isn't my first or my second or my third, and there was no emulator problems. It's my 4th legit attempt. And it's so irritating. And all the... See, here's the thing. Whenever you play any game, a lot of times, if it's a half-decent game, then you can just play it normally and be okay. but I think a sign of a good game is that when it gets hard, it doesn't get frustrating. And there's a lot of games where it's like they're good games, but they're not great games because when they get hard, they get frustrating. And this is a Pokemon can get kind of frustrating because of the random and luck aspect to a lot of the battles, but this section is a section of when it's hard and it's frustrating. Like the other gym leaders that I took on and had a bad time doing, they were hard but they weren't frustrating because I knew, you know, they were kind of luck based and all that, but it wasn't that big of a deal. It was one battle, I just needed to come up with a good strategy. There's no real strategy here, it's just you're fighting 5 Pokemon back to back and they're pretty damn good. And oh what, you want to switch out to have the right Pokemon? You know, so here with Jolteon, it's like, oh, you want to switch out for E-Rock? Well, screw you, because you can't switch out in between battles. You have to go into it, and it's just so dumb. I just got really annoyed, and you probably would have noticed that my Pokemon are actually all slightly higher level than before, because twice in this part, at the beginning of this part and then before I did these battles, I went off and trained. And one thing that's pretty cool is that E-Rock learned Earthquake, which, in case you don't know, Earthquake is like the best ground move and one of the best moves in the whole game, because its power is like 120 or 100, something pretty good, and its accuracy is 100, and it's just really good and does a ton of damage. So one thing that's cool though is that E-Rock wouldn't have learned that move if I was playing a Generation 5. I mean, I wouldn't have a Graveler if I was playing Pokemon Black and White, but yeah, so in Generation 5 he learns Earthquake at like level 50, but in Generation 4 he learns it at like level 33, level 34. So I mean, that's really cool and really handy. E-Rock now has his best attack, which is always nice. So yeah, because I got rid of Magnitude and replaced it with Earthquake because I wanted to keep Defense Curl because it's kind of useful. I wanted to keep Rollout because that's a really good move, and I wanted to keep Rock Blast because I wanted a Rock type move, and I knew, you know, I know Rollout is a Rock type move, but I wanted one that would do damage straight away in case I encountered any Flying type. So yeah, so I thought I'll get rid of Magnitude because Earthquake is just a better Magnitude anyway, pretty much. Earthquake is just Magnitude 10 all the time. I don't know that for a fact, but it pretty much is. So, one thing that got really frustrating with this is that I got to this Vaporeon on my 3rd attempt of doing this, and it killed my Pokemon. I had 4 Pokemon, and it killed it had no Surf, so obviously it kicked E-Rock's ass, and it kicked York's ass, and then Mr. Sublime doesn't have that much health, so he eventually went down, and it's just, or she, Mr. Sublime is a she, I'm just noticing, very interesting, so I mean, this part was just bad and dumb, but, I mean, I don't know. I've done it now. It's just, see, that's one thing that's quite good about recording post-commentary like I am. Looking back on it, when I was playing this, I was, like, so incredibly angry doing this. But looking back on it, I can be like, hey, you know, it's all good. It's all good in the hood, or whatever the youth say, so. But yeah, this was actually all set up for catching Yu-Gi-Oh! Because now that we've beaten these, they now like, oh, you're a pretty cool guy, you can go catch Yu-Gi-Oh! So, catching Yu-Gi-Oh! Is optional, but I'm going to do it. So next time in Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver, I'm going to go legendary Pokemon hunting and hopefully catch Yu-Gi-Oh! So, I've been on Tom23, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.